near post, the flick, and it's in! Darwin Jones with the response for Orange County. And it is a massive one. Austin Gold dominant in the last 10.
Forrester in the middle now, gets around a few defenders. Forrester with the outside right foot. What a strike by Harry Forrester. Is the opening goal for Orange County. He's looking for Hugh. Heads it down, back post. Opportunity and a goal. A beautiful goal by Orange County.
This is the Orange and Black SoccerCast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast or on Facebook at Orange and Black SoccerCast.
How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black SoccerCast, presented by Ruffneck, Scarves, and Icarus FC. I'm your host, Ray Zamora, and I'm with you each and every episode as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club, video game soccer, and other stuff. Joining me, as he does every episode, we've got Dylan from Counterline Coalition. Dylan, how are we doing?
I'm good. I don't know. I just got back from a protest, a peaceful protest, organized by one of my classmates, and it was good, and it was nice to see, and it was nice to be a part of, and I hope that creates some real change.
Perfect. Also joining me down from San Diego, we've got Alan. Alan, how you doing, man?
I'm kind of processing through some things. There's a good support system for educators in California Teachers Association. Had a chance to talk, and actually more for me just to listen and to kind of hear the pain of our communities, and just kind of processing what I and where I fit into all of it without taking up space, but also to kind of amplify the voices that need to be heard. So it's been a little bit of a weird day. Turned in my keys today, so school's kind of over. So it's kind of a weird kind of transition day for me as well. So kind of in a weird space. I'm lucky that I live in an area that isn't on a what are those things called? Lockdowns, curfew things. But things aren't, just I'm sure everyone's listening, things aren't great there either. But things are a little rough down here. So yeah, a lot to process.
Definitely a lot to process. It's been a difficult, I guess, 8 days? Going back, I guess we can say, to Memorial Day, which was last Monday. Stuff started getting a little weird. This is definitely nothing to do with COVID. And yeah, it's been difficult. I've been watching a lot more news than I normally do. I try to stay away from news, but I was just sort of drawn to the fact that this is a moment where you can't really ignore the news. You have to sort of take in what's going on with things, society, in society in the United States and worldwide. And yeah, it's difficult. And if you haven't figured it out yet by the first 5 minutes of this episode, it's probably going to be a little bit of a different episode than we normally do. We normally like to poke fun, have a good time, drink some beers, make fun of my video game soccer abilities. But it's definitely, I feel like it's not a time to go crazy. I want to help y'all take a break from the stuff going on in people's minds, but it's difficult to do that. And we're just like you. We're people that live, breathe, love soccer, but we're also human beings. And it's difficult to process things sometimes. So yeah, I really honestly don't know where to begin with some of this. So I'm going to maybe just open it up and see where my co-host want to start off things? Do we want to maybe start off on what we normally like to talk about for a little bit, or what's on our minds? I'll go to you, Dylan. I'm gonna turn to you. What do we want to do here, man?
I don't think video game soccer is ever that important. In real soccer isn't really even that important, and I recognize the irony in that because I've created such a massive portion of my life and devoted it to the sport, but with everything that's going on, it's meaningless at this moment.
Let me then ask you really quick then, because you mentioned, I know you were at protest in Orange. You mentioned you were at a protest earlier today. Glad to see that you're safe. Probably means it was a peaceful protest, which is definitely what I think the world needs and we want to see right now. I think we can all say we can understand the anger. I can't relate to the anger, being, I'm a guy that grew up in Orange County, have always had things. I've always had a roof over my head, food to eat and whatnot. But I can at least understand why there would be anger in situations like this. Not saying that the anger is full result of, or what we're having as far as the violence and destruction isn't fully because of the anger. There are some small bad seeds here and there that are taking advantage of a situation. But for the big part, there's anger and there's peaceful protests, which is a good thing. Dylan, you're in the front lines seeing all this stuff, at least in Orange County. What's your experience at these, and how's it been for you?
It's been peaceful. I was reporting on the protest in Orange on Saturday, and it was peaceful, and the cops did a good job of staying out of the way of people, and making sure that it was peaceful and not escalating the situation. I didn't go to the one on Santa Ana because it was pretty clear from the get-go that was not going to be a protest, and that was people looking to start a riot. And the sheriff's department in Santa Ana PD and Tustin PD, probably Anaheim PD as well, dressed for a fight because they were looking for a fight. They knew it was coming, and it got violent quickly. And then they tear gassed people, and then they shot people with pepper balls and rubber bullets, including journalists. So I was glad I wasn't there. And I'm privileged enough to not live in that area and really be affected by it, not to hear the constant sirens or the helicopters overhead. So yeah, we might want to mention we did try. This is a podcast of a Mexican, half Mexican, I don't even know, right? And two white guys. I mean,
Yes.
We tried to get a person of color on this podcast, and who we went for wasn't allowed. So, obviously everything I'm going to say, take it with a grain of salt, because I have a massive amount of privilege. So it's not my place to pass judgment on what people are deciding to do, but it's also my place to use my voice. I've regretted not saying a lot of political things in the past, and supporting people, because I haven't wanted to detract from the show and kind of what we're doing here. But I think now it's inexcusable, and I regret not saying things in the past. This is the breaking point, right? We have to move forward, and that's the only option. So I can cover stuff, and then in my private time, I'm there alongside, my fist up, doing what I can and supporting, my brothers and my sisters, and what we can do to make Orange County a better place.
Let me get a different perspective. Not too far, but it's still, it seems worlds apart at the, right now with Alan down in San Diego. I know there's been stuff going on down in San Diego as well. I'm hoping it's been more on the peaceful end of things. I know watching the news, we've seen some really bad destruction all across this country, which is sad to see. It's hurtful to see. Again, we understand why this anger is there. How's it been in San Diego? What's been the I guess temperature or the feeling in San Diego with all this going on, Alan?
There's kind of like two things I've noticed is, number one, I think in the coverage that we've seen here, there's more coverage done by people on Instagram and Facebook Live who are experiencing these things and kind of sharing visually and also narrating, because there's not a ton of people covering it on traditional sources. There are people there, and there are a couple people that were highlighted for their coverage of kind of the first day. But it's a little bit disturbing to know that there's not kind of this